Toro Y Moi, whole Erth album review. Let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning. Here tonight to chat about this latest album from Chaz Bear, aka Toro Y Moi, a musical chameleon out of South Carolina. He's been at it for a few years now, quite some time actually, and in that time he has done quite a bit. If you didn't yesterday get to check out my ranking of his discography, go check it out. But for right now, we're going to chat about his new album. Now, leading up to this record, I was actually really excited to hear what Chaz had in store for us. There were singles like Heaven that were dropping, also Hollywood featuring Ben Gibbard. I thought these tracks, brought a sense of nostalgia back to Toro Y Moi's music, which is something that's been missing for quite some time. However, just like his last record, I feel like, the singles leading up to this thing, while most were good, we also got singles like Tuesday, also a CDR, which honestly I've not been that excited about. Leading up to this thing, I really didn't know what direction that Toro Y Moi was going to go in, but now that it's here, this is his sort of cloud rap and psychedelic trap project. And you get that right away from the opening track, Walking in the Rain. And this is definitely an odd direction that I didn't expect to hear, but for the moment, it doesn't sound too bad. The production's really cool, the hazy atmosphere is nice, Chaz sounds comfortable. And yeah, it's a little high sounding, absolutely. But this beat is slick and Chaz sounds like he's really taking control and I'm not pissed about it. HOV is simple but really effective. The flashy beat is really classy, the production's very hip, and Chaz, once again, sounds like he's found a good medium. And honestly, his performance is really cool. Now, lyrically, I'd argue that this maybe isn't as engaging as some of his early work. It's a vibe, though. Also, Hollywood, featuring Ben Gibbard of Death Cab for Cutie and the Postal Service, is a really, really great single. I love the more subdued beat that we get here and the nods to folktronica. There is such an early 2000s indie sound to this track. It really does tug at some heartstrings. Some really great production tricks and sound play as well. It just has so much heart, and Ben Gibbard sounds right at home. It's a great track. Also, really like Reseda featuring Duckworth and Elijah Kessler. The beat here, the guitar line, everything is just so anthemic and triumphant. This entire track is just so heartfelt and passionate. It's got some guts to it. Now, I will say this, and this may throw some off or put a bad taste in some people's mouths. This album stylistically is all over the place. While predominantly, he does go into a lot of psych trap and cloud rap, there's also just a lot of early 2000s indie stuff on here. Also, other tracks that sound ripped, kicking, and screaming out of the 90s. And for now, that's fine, but we will get to some down moments. And for the moment, that's fine, but it also leads to some down moments. Like CDR, for example. I'm sorry, but like what pile did this crap crawl out of? Since this track dropped, I've been worried about the rest of this album. And listen, this album's vibes, they're not going to be for everyone, but the sound of this track here is so flimsy and so phoned in that it can be used as an argument against the sound of this record. It is just so thrown together and absent-minded, way too much so. And I'm still not into Tuesday either. I really haven't been since it dropped. I'm sorry, but just this track does nothing for me. This doesn't excite me. It doesn't engage me. Lyrically, this album as a whole, isn't the most mature and interesting work from Chaz, but I hear this, and this is just pathetic. Off-road, I'm sorry, this absolutely sucks. Like I said, the production of this album, it might rub some people the wrong way. And then I hear this and I'm like, yeah, me too. The production here sucks. It's a little too stoned for me. Like tracks like this, I would kill for some substance. And Smoke featuring Kenny Mason, it's just okay. I mean, of all the sad boy rap tracks on this album, honestly, this is one of the lesser offerings. I do like the strummed, breezy riff. That's not bad at all, but everything else about this track just seems underwhelming. It's just okay, as is Kenny Mason's feature. But outside of that, I don't entirely hate this for a vibe record from Chaz. Like Babydaddy, for example. This track is so freaking cool. One of my favorite deep cuts here. From a beat perspective, this is so unique and interesting, and I feel like a lot of the same vibes of his Boo Boo record show up in spades on this new album. And if that's not your thing, I get it. This track is emotional, it's sad, it's a little melodramatic, but the essence of cool here is so alive and well. A lot of the same vibes on Madonna. This track is even more somber, more tragic. Oh, and Don Toliver's on this one too. And at first, this track did kind of underwhelm me. It was a little too downtrodden for me, but I love the atmosphere of this track. These two, interestingly enough, have a lot of chemistry. And Undercurrent may be my favorite deep cut here. This one also features Don Toliver as well as Aaron Maine of Porches fame. I love the bassy groove that Chaz locks in on. From an atmosphere perspective, look no further. It's so easy to get lost in. This hook is really memorable, and Aaron Maine, honestly, is one of the best features on this record. He sounds great. And Heaven, featuring Kevin Abstract and Lev, is the best track here, and I genuinely feel like this is the best single that Chaz has dropped in like a decade. Everything about this track is an ethereal, nostalgic vibe that just tugs at so many heartstrings. I love the breezy riff to this track. I love the production, and Kevin Abstract and Lev are easily some of the best features on this record. It's incredibly memorable. It's incredibly sweet, and the Broken Social Scene Anthems for a 17-year-old Girl sample is awesome. And Starlink featuring Glaive as a finale, I mean, it definitely has a big sound to it. There's emergency here, some drama as well, and what follows is pretty heady and upbeat, and that's not something I expected to hear as a finale. It almost has some house vibes to it, but in a weird way, it does fit. It's a proper finale. I mean, stylistically, this album's a little all over the place, even for somebody who switches up things as often as Chaz, but for the most part, it's a decent vibe record. I mean, don't think that this is going to be the most engaging thing in his discography. I mean, lyrically, this is a pretty big fall off, but he does match that back with a lot of confidence, a lot of cool beats, and a lot of really interesting hazy atmospheres to work his magic in. And yeah, some of the worst tracks on this album are absolutely unlistenable. I'm sorry, but CDR and Tuesday are just not good singles, at least not for me. Overall, this album is fine. It's a fine album from Chaz. It's certainly not his worst project. It's certainly not his best project. I would probably, in his discography, put it like his 5th best record at this point, maybe 6th, but for right now, I'm feeling a light 7 on this thing. But let me know what you all think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.